Hello everyone, welcome to my video. I'm going to show you how to read a research paper effectively in a short amount of time. This is the frequently asked questions that I get in my inbox. As students, researchers, or professionals, we often need to go through a lot of papers quickly, but still grasp very few findings when we even if we take a long period of time. And also these days, because of AI, we have this tendency to give the whole document to AI and ask them to read for us. But then if we are not able to provide them a very good prompt, then the time that we study ourselves would is actually lesser than the kind of prompts that we try to give them the AI tools, and it definitely takes a longer time, and the things that we want from AI also does not come upfront. So I think this video will help you dive into how to read a research paper efficiently and effectively. So make sure to stick around for tips that will save you a lot of time and energy. So first thing first, understanding the structure of a research paper is essential. Most academic research papers follow a very similar structure. Title, abstract, introduction, methods, results, discussion, and conclusion. Title, as we know, tells us what the research paper is about. Abstract is a summary of the entire paper. You can often get a good overview from just reading this. Then there's the introduction, which provides background information and outlines the purpose of the paper. Method explains how the research was conducted. Results are the section where the findings are presented. Discussion is the section where the authors interpret the results. And conclusion are the final thoughts and implications. So familiarizing yourself with these sections can help you navigate the paper faster, because not every time we want to go through all the sections. When you are, even if you're just trying to comprehend, or if you're trying to use certain portion of the paper, it's all right if you just look at the particular section of that paper. um, Now when you pick a paper, don't start reading it from top to bottom. Instead, start with the abstract and conclusion. The abstract gives you a snapshot of the entire paper. Here you can quickly figure out whether the paper is relevant to your needs. The conclusion will help often summarize the main findings and their implications. That tells you what the authors concluded after their research. And by reading these two, by reading this abstract and conclusion first, you can decide whether the rest of the paper is worth reading in detail. Next, move on to the introduction. Here you will find the research question or the hypothesis, which will tell you the focus of the study. Pay attention to what's the problem the authors are addressing, why is it important, what gap in knowledge does the study feel. So just try to find the answer to this question so you can skim through it. This helps you understand the context before jumping into the details of the research. Sometimes you just don't have to go through the rest of the section of the paper, and also understanding these are fine. Then move on to the method section. But instead of reading every detail, focus on what type of research was conducted, whether it was qualitative or quantitative. If it was qualitative, then what are the number of the participants? What's the sample size? If it's quantitative, then look at the key instruments or the methods for data collection, like whether it was a survey or whether the researchers use experiments. You just try to find that out. Now, after doing all this, it's time to dive into the results section. This part can often be dense, but often get don't get bogged down by every detail. Instead, focus on key findings or trends presented in tables, graphs, or charts. If there are tables, obviously tables, graphs, or charts. Then pay attention to whether the results support the hypothesis or not. So remember, we read the introduction section, and there might have been hypothesis, and your work is just to figure out whether the findings support the hypothesis or not. So If you are crunched to time, often the figures and tables are enough for you to understand. Quickly scan through them, and if you need more context or want to go deeper, then obviously go back to the text for clarification. Once you have processed the results, move on to the discussion section. There is where the authors interpret the findings. And when reading that, try to find the answer to these questions, like what do the actually the researchers think about the results mean, how do they relate to previous studies, and what are the implications of the findings for research, for future research or real world applications. So the discussion can sometimes be a bit theoretical, but it's key to understanding the broader context of the paper. And sometimes you might not even have to like go to the discussion section. You read the discussion section of only those papers which you think are really going to be helpful for your own understanding or for your own research paper. Then here, so that's it. So here are the few tips to read faster and more efficient. So you can set a timer, you can challenge yourself if you can read the research paper within the allotted time. It could be 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Focus on the key sections, then use keywords, because at least almost all of the research paper follow the same pattern. So try to find the keywords. Then avoid reading every word. You don't have to read every single sentence, every single word. Try to focus on the big picture. Take notes. Jotting down really helps. Noting down really helps. For me, highlighting really helps. So you can do that as well. So to recap, number one, start with the abstract and conclusion. Number two, move on to the introduction to understand the research question. Number three, skim the methods and focus on the key details. Number four, dive into the results and figures for the core findings. Number five, finish with a discussion to interpret the results in a broader context. And with these strategies, you'll be able to read research papers effectively in less time. And remember, practice makes perfect. Soon enough, you will be able to speed through papers without missing key insights. So happy reading!